Hi, this is Kivi Miller with nonprofitmarketingguide.com, and today I'm talking to Sandy Rees from getfullyfunded.com. Sandy has a new book out called Get Fully Funded: How to Raise the Money of Your Dreams. Hi, Sandy.
Hi.
So, there's a lot of fundraising advice online now for nonprofits. If they just Google fundraising, they are going to find a ton of stuff, some of which is really helpful and a lot of which is not. Tell us why you felt like you really wanted to put this book together. A book is a big project, as I know.
Well, you're right about that. A book is a big project, and you're right that there's a lot of advice out there. And I can remember myself sitting in the development director's chair Googling for help and not finding an awful lot of stuff that was really practical and things that I felt like were credible and that would really help me. After working as a staff person for many years and then as a consultant for several years, I saw some of the same traps, some of the same bumps in the road for organizations over and over, and I thought probably the best way for me to help the most organizations is to write all this down in a book, and not only put it in a book, but put it in a very easy-to-follow, step-by-step format. So that's what I've done with this book, and I'm really excited about having it ready and out there for the world to have.
So on the cover it says 7 simple steps to fully funding your mission so you never have to worry about fundraising again. And I know that a lot of people do in fact worry quite a bit about it, and fundraising causes a lot of angst for people. So tell us a little bit more about how this book is a little different and how you can really hold up to that promise of helping them not worry quite so much.
And it is a big promise, believe me, I know that. But I really want that for people. I really want them to figure out how to fully fund their work and stop worrying about it. And one of the pieces that I've included in this book that I don't see in just about every other fundraising book that I look at is the piece on getting yourself ready and dealing with your own mindset. I don't see that work in much of anything else. And what I know is that if you approach fundraising with a very positive attitude and a positive outlook, it makes a big difference and a big impact. And I know that can sound kind of like not that important, but it really, truly is. How we look at things and how we think about things makes a huge impact on the result that we get. For example, if someone looks at fundraising as a necessary evil, or they see it as hard, or they think about it as hitting up people, they're going to struggle and they're going to have a very tough time with it. If they look at fundraising as building relationships, making friends, giving people the opportunity to participate in their work, it really does change things a lot. So there's a whole piece in the book just on that. Plus there's an awful lot of what I would consider really rock-solid tips, strategies, and techniques, along with an awful lot of worksheets and templates and checklists and things that are just designed to make the whole thing a whole lot easier to implement. And that's what I think makes it really different.
I think that's a great point. I meet so many executive directors in particular who have to end up doing fundraising, and they don't have any fundraising experience at all. And they're very afraid, or they apologize when they ask for money, which of course is a big no-no. So I think that's a wonderful way to get people started. So tell us a little bit more about some of the differences between the organizations that you feel are going to succeed and really get rid of that worry, and those that are going to continue to struggle. What are some of the other key differences?
Mindset is one, passion is another. I've got several organizations that are clients that I could tell stories about that are raising more money this year than they have ever before, even in light of the economy and everything else that's going on. And what I can point to with these organizations is they are very committed to the mission of the organization. They care very deeply about the people that their organization are helping, and they really want to make sure that they're doing everything they can to provide services to those people. So they're very passionate. They're also very good at telling their story, and I know that's something that you talk a lot about, is how to tell your story in a way that's engaging and compelling and that people want to know more about. Well, these organizations are out there doing it, and they're doing a great job. And the thing is, they're not talking about their organization. Again, they're talking about the work they're doing and the people whose lives are being changed. And I think that that's a differentiator. The other thing is they're not afraid to ask for money. They're offering lots of opportunities for people to give throughout the year, and they're offering lots of different ways for people to give. So they might have an event that's going on, and then they might ask through a letter, and then they might ask through an email, and they might be making person-to-person asks. So they're changing it up. It's not just one strategy that they're relying on. They're using lots of different strategies, and they're asking multiple times through the year. And when they couple that with some really good communication, staying in touch with those donors and letting them know what they're doing and how the donations that have been given are making a difference, it is a formula for success.
Well, you mentioned asking throughout the year, and I think, right now, obviously, we're in the midst of the end-of-year fundraising chaos, and I think a lot of people just get completely exhausted after December, and a lot of staff people, and they don't do anything, basically, the first quarter of 2012. So what would you recommend for people who just feel like they have to catch their breath, but still need to make some progress? What are some things they can do in the first 3 months of next year?
Well, the absolute first thing that anybody needs to be doing is putting a plan together for 2012. I think that organizations that don't have a plan in writing for how they're going to be raising money are simply going to be floating along with the wind, whichever way the wind blows. That's about being reactive, and it doesn't work. It's not going to lead to fundraising success. So the first thing is they need to get a plan together. And that plan needs to include strategies for communicating and staying in touch with the donor. I like to give the example that almost all of us have some friend that the only time we hear from that friend is when they want something. They need us to help them move, or
Right.
that we need to babysit their kids or whatever it is. And it doesn't take long before we see that number pop up on our caller ID and we're like, I don't think I want to answer the phone anymore. Well, we certainly don't want to show up that way to our donors. And the way to avoid that is to stay in touch with them, is to treat those donors like friends and communicate with them. Let them know what we're doing, invite them to participate in things, and probably most importantly is to communicate without asking several times a year. I think that's a real important piece. Beyond that, I think that organizations need to be embarking on some kind of face-to-face giving program. So many nonprofits that struggle have no major donor program. They're not out talking to their donors face-to-face. They're not asking for larger amounts of money. And I think putting together a plan to move them toward major gifts is really going to make a huge difference in their fundraising success in 2012.
Great ideas. Well, I know that there are a lot more in the book. So Sandy, tell us where we can get a copy of Get Fully Funded.
You can go to the website at getfullyfunded.com and read about the system and read all about the book. You can even download the table of contents, and the first chapter is available. So if you wanted to download that just to get a feel of how the book is structured and the checklists and things that are included, you can get a great taste by downloading Chapter 1, and that's all at getfullyfunded.com.
Well, thanks so much for taking a few minutes to talk to me today, Sandy.
You are so welcome. I'm delighted to be able to do it.